Welcome. I'm on the bottom right side. I don't like being there, but we're live. It's not
You
going to
look
matter
good. You look
anyway
good wherever
because
you are. Yeah.
that's true. That is such a good point. I always look good wherever I am. Thank you for that. Yeah, so we're going to do a mock draft today. I will, be gone in about like 5 minutes or so. But you'll have our famous crew. And yeah, if you're here, make sure to like the video, leave a comment in the chat if you're watching it live, or after if you're watching it after. This is the very important thing to boost the algorithm on these videos. And then, my Patreon and all that other stuff. We know about all that, right? Anyone else got anything to say?
No. I'm with Josh in the chat. Sigh from a Ravens fan, but that's all I gotta say.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Your team's kind of imploding, buddy.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. No, I'm actually semi-optimistic heading into next year. Actually, believe it or not. We can come out later.
All centered around one man, really.
Yeah, I still lean towards he's a Raven next year, but if you would have asked me a month ago, I would have been like, he's definitely going to be a Ravens guys. So now I'm like closer to the 60-40 kind of split. So
you reading into him not being at the game at all or anything?
Injured players don't travel with the team.
That's
away.
That's fair.
With the team. That's swelling thing. You know, it would have swelled up. So
yeah, I know a lot of people are blowing that up, but I think that's a little out of context.
Also, Ryan, if you have 2 minutes per pick, you're gonna be here all day.
Definitely don't do 2. Definitely do a minute.
Yeah.
Definitely do
a minute.
You gotta
change that.
Yeah.
Change that. 2
a
minutes
tough. Because like if you're not used to doing mock drafts, like
I think 30 seconds is good. 30 seconds is good, and then you know
30 seconds is good too.
Yeah, 30 seconds is good. Who cares? People mess
I wish
up
there was
a pick.
40-45.
You know, I'll come on next week and I'll criticize you. I'll criticize you, and you. All big criticism. You know, that's my the biggest political campaign donor to me is big criticism. They some people get their donations from big pharma, some people get it from big oil. I get it from big criticism.
Big failure.
Big failure. Yeah, big failure is probably my even bigger than big criticism. Big failure is my biggest donor. Happy Monday. Yeah. No, it's good. I need some time off. But I'll be back next week. Do not worry. Yeah. How much do you need on top of Pickett to move off of Lance? Nothing.
I'll take that trade right there.
Yeah, nothing. Let's see. Does Lamar's value? Well, that depends on where he goes. That's a lot of maybe. Let's. I don't think Lamar's going anywhere. So we'll get into a hypothetical. Well, no, we can get into a No, he's not going to Dolphins. We'll get into a hypothetical. if this, then that. We can get into that. But I don't see that as likely. Well, I don't know. I mean, elite QB1s are valuable no matter what. In a 14-team superflex, to be honest with you, the other quarterbacks actually also gain value because you need them. Like someone like Baker Mayfield, or not Baker Mayfield, but like, I don't know, Jimmy Garoppolo is like not really that valuable. Ryan Tannehill in like a regular superflex because you probably aren't winning if you're actually starting them. Like if they're your QB2, you're probably not winning. So, but 14-team superflex, those players are actually startable. So I'm not sure. Over the top position players, I mean, we know they're at the top, but to be honest, even in regular superflex, they're already all at the top.
It might push me to like take, a guy like Lamar Jackson over Jamar Chase. I probably would do that anyway. Or
I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do that with Lamar Jackson. Too much big failure. Too many problems.
No, I'm saying taking. Oh, yeah, okay, that's fine.
I'm saying I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do that. There's too many problems.
It pushes me to a little bit.
I'd take Trevor Lawrence over Jamar Chase.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence too. I think that's a little bit easier.
But not Lamar Jackson. Maybe. There's too many issues.
That's fine.
There's too many problems.
And by the way, I think regardless, once he gets traded, I do think his value is going to spike because they're going to have better weapons.
He's not getting traded. There's no trade.
I'm saying, Josh asked if he does move to a different team, does his value rise? I think that initial when it happens, his value will rise. I'm not saying it
but
should
if I
rise,
had
but it would.
if I had an 8-pack, weighed 30 more pounds, and got a bunch of work done, I could be the next Chris Hemsworth. But that's not going to happen because that's not a realistic hypothetical.
So you're
right?
saying 100% chance Lamar Jackson's on the Ravens next year because they're not cutting him.
Pretty much.
So it's
I mean,
either
I'd say
he's
it's
on the
very
Ravens
likely.
or he gets traded.
I think it's more likely that I have, an 8-pack and become a model than it is, which is not that unlikely. I mean, weirder things have happened. If you'd asked me 3 years ago if I'd be doing this show, Ask DLF, all those other things, Patreon or whatever, I would have said, well, that was crazy. That's never going to happen. I never would have even imagined it. I'd never done a single YouTube show in my life. So I think it's much more likely that I become a model.
Most people are going to say he's not a Raven next year. I'm just.
Well, I just think that I think me becoming a model is very likely. So let's.
I think most people are in vote against that. No,
I would
offense,
love to be a model. You can see what happens when I obviously have been away from my computer. I didn't really watch any of this stuff.
I like hearing that you think he's going to stay.
Enjoying life.
As a Ravens fan.
Can I just casually bring up that I am happy that CJ Stroud and Jordan Addison officially declared today?
It is.
There's a short. Speaking of supporting me, there's a short on this channel about that.
Watch it. I like it.
Also, I don't like this virtual background. How about this one? How's that one look?
That last one was virtual?
It's cutting off my arms. No, it was blur. I don't like that. I don't like that. We can let them see my mess in the background. It's still neater than Ryan's
picture
room.
of my bed. Freshly
that would
made.
be awesome if that was virtual. That actually would be badass if they were doing that. If he just took a picture of a bed and made it just so it was always nice and tidy.
Always perfectly made.
That's virtual.
That's the one that whoever
floor plan.
What's his name?
That background.
The guy on ESPN.
I gotta get closer to the
mic.
But that background is virtual and that looks pretty damn real. Other than the fact that it's cutting off all my arms.
Yeah. When you move around, it looks.
I know, which sucks. But it looks pretty damn real. All right. Whatever. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, no, I love this. And let's see. I'd like to be criticized.
Screw you, bro.
Toronto Dave, of all people to be criticized. Why would I criticize you? You're like the nicest guy.
He likes it, man. He likes it.
Careful. I don't know. I don't know. Bijan and Mac or Lawrence? Take Bijan and Mac.
I mean, there needs to be some firing in New England coaching staff.
That's a fair trade.
You know what I mean.
Well, okay, so how are we doing with getting the draft?
I think most people in a Superflex league are taking the 101, aka Bijan, over Lawrence in a lot of spots. So
I don't think so. Not anymore.
A lot of people are.
No, I think I would say I
wouldn't have it ranked that way.
I would say it's 75% of people would rather have Trevor Lawrence and 25% would rather have Bijan.
Okay.
Especially blind. Especially blind. Now,
I'll go with 70. I'll go with 70-30.
Well, yeah, but it's also blind. It's blind. You don't know. Bijan could not get the best landing spot. I mean, you don't know where he's going to go.
Yeah.
No, it matters. I mean,
he's the running back one, regardless.
Oh, of course.
But when you're talking about him
in terms of
with the quarterbacks,
is he going to be startup overall
10,
11, or 12? This is what we're talking about.
We're talking about someone. I don't care where.
No. We're talking about We're talking about someone who's going to come into a super flex startup as a first round asset. So that's already. I mean, we're already talking about great things, but it's just we're talking about the difference between 10th overall, 11th overall. This is what we're talking about overall in Superflex. Overall, not running back. Running back 10 overall. That's and this is the experience I think you would have after that playoff game where everybody saw it. Even though the first half was bad, it doesn't tend to matter. Everyone saw it where he was kind of the talk of the town or whatever. I really think acquiring Trevor Lawrence is going to be impossible. I don't think people are going to want to sell. And why would you? He's a young stud quarterback. I wouldn't want to sell that kind of asset in a Superflex league. That's the kind of asset you want to hang on to. Yeah. We are going to start this draft as soon as it fills, by the way. And then
looks like we got 4 spots left.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah. I posted it in a bunch of places. I posted it in the Trade Addicts Discord, in the DLF Discord, in our chat. So a lot in my Patreon Discord. So there's a lot of people. I mean, why would you accept it? Because it's just so popular. I mean, he's such a popular player. He's done so well. And he was good for fantasy too. It wasn't just that he delivered for real life. He delivered for fantasy also. He totally delivered for fantasy. So yeah, I see that as, makes a lot of sense, right? That his value is very high.
You guys see that Sleeper added like playoff scoring to their scorings? Like if you look at a player's profile, you can look at their playoff scores from the years past. I love that, by the way. I love that. I think it's an awesome feature because it's part of the picture. It's part of the picture.
I love Sleeper. I'm very much in favor.
Picture.
Sleeper is great. I approve of them. They have a 100% approval rating for me. Well, 1 out of 1. They're doing a great job.
Improving.
Big success.
Awesome. Yeah.
Big success. That's one. I should get a campaign contribution from them.
Make
success.
T-shirts.
Big success.
Yeah. We'll work on that.
Big failure with silhouettes of like guys.
Well,
like,
big failure. I mean, if I wanted big failure, you know what I would do? I would put up a picture of Brandon Staley on a shirt and have it say big failure. That would be very appropriate because he was totally a failure. I mean, there were many failures, so many failures. It was so many failures that actually one video was not enough to cover all of his failures. There were many failures. And the Chargers' incompetent ownership, totally incompetent, is not going to fire him. But he's done such a poor job. At what point is it Herbert's fault? It's never going to be Herbert's fault. I mean, Brandon Staley, Herbert played great. I don't see why it would be Herbert's fault. He had many good throws. The problem was that Brandon Staley completely abandoned. I mean, he's a defensive coordinator, right? You would think defensive coordinator. He came from a defensive background. Why didn't he do something about it? You saw they were up 27 points. There was a lot of time. Why didn't you do something about it? You saw suddenly the Jaguars offense, suddenly things were changing. They changed things from the first half to the second half, but you didn't do anything about it. You had many opportunities to change something in defense. You didn't do anything about it. What about covering Christian Kirk? You could see he was getting open. Evan Ingram was getting open. Why didn't you do something about it? Throughout the season as well, the Chargers defense, you've been able to run all over them. Why didn't he do something about it? You would think he would have been able to, over 2 years, accomplish something, but he's actually accomplished nothing. Justin Herbert has been saving his ass. And he comes from a defensive background. He's done nothing about it. He had a whole offseason to prepare his defense this year. Totally should have been prepared. They were not prepared. So he didn't do anything about it. So this leaves us in a place now. We get to the offensive play calling. Austin Eckler, 0 rushing yards in the second half. You were up by 20 points going into the second half. Why didn't you do something about it? You're the head coach. You had plenty of time to do something about it, but he didn't do anything about it. So whose fault is it? You had a 27-point lead and you had 5+ turnover differential and you lost. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that Joey Bosa was completely undisciplined? It just, it would have been nice if that hadn't happened. Oh, it's unfortunate. Oh, well. But whose fault is that? The head coach is responsible for that. Totally responsible for the undisciplined players. And that last penalty led to the ball being moved from the 2 to the 1, which led to that 2-point conversion, which made a 2-point game instead of a 3-point game, which led to the Jaguars winning. So whose fault was that? He had every opportunity to do something about it, and he didn't do anything. So, of course, we're going to blame Brandon Staley, but the Chargers ownership will never do anything about it because they're content to sell tickets to the 10 fans that want to go to the game. That's all they have. I mean, nobody ever goes to the game there. It's always the road fans always have a big advantage. The 10 fans that want to go to the game, they're content to collect their TV check from the NFL, and that's it. Because they don't want to pay a new head coach because they just want the money. They're going to profitable anyway. They just collect that TV check. I know this from sports management master's degree. They collect the TV check, and they're instantly profitable. They don't care. So they're not going to fire him, but they really should. I'm done blaming Brandon Staley because I could talk 2 shows about how incompetent he is. I mean, totally, completely incompetent. You know what's bad? When this is just one of many games that they choked away. There's so many problems. This is just one. There's so many we could talk about. And last year, you go back to last year, clock management. Why didn't he do something about it? The clock was managed poorly. Whose fault was that? And why didn't he do something about it? He said he was going to fix it going into this year. It was totally not fixed. It actually didn't get better. His game management did not improve. He didn't do anything about it. I could literally go on forever. He's just like, There's no end to the negative stuff
Weren't
I
the
have
Chargers
to say
the
about
only
Brandon Staley.
team ever to rate the highest in offensive and defensive yards per game or efficiency and miss the playoffs?
Well, that was 2010. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago, but still,
But it was the same
it's still the
ownership
point.
who
They're
had
the
many
highest
opportunities to
scoring
do
and
something
highest
about it,
scoring
and they
offense
didn't do
defense.
anything. They didn't do
Yeah.
anything to solve the problem. So, there's many things.
Man, they had such a good team that year.
This is
They
even
were-
worse. This is even worse. Speaking of not doing anything about it, the head coach said, well, we should have, the Ravens head coach, John Harbaugh, new problem. Why didn't we get J.K. Dobbins more involved? We could have done something about it. Why? It just, only 12 carries. It's not good enough. But you're the head coach. Why didn't you do something about it? Why didn't you really think that a Tyler Huntley, I get it. Oh, it's the best call. No, it isn't. Tyler Huntley is not really so good. You have good running backs. Gus Edwards is a powerful running back. Josh, you're a Ravens fan. You should know better. You know better. Why didn't you do something differently? Why didn't you do something? Why didn't they do something differently?
Listen, man, I was sitting in there watching the game last night, being like, "Run the ball!"
But they did run the ball. Just they didn't run it very well. That was the problem.
They ran it very well. What do you mean?
No, they didn't run it well because on the one play, no, it doesn't matter. On the one play that mattered, they called the wrong
Tyler
play.
Huntley ran the ball.
Well, no, they didn't. They didn't run it correctly because they called a QB sneak, and so you have running backs. What are running backs for? You have running backs. Two running backs who are good at the goal line. Two running backs good at the goal line. And instead, you give Tyler Huntley who's nothing special.
They did run the ball over like 35 times.
They did, but when it mattered, I know. Does it matter
but
that Seattle ran the ball very well in that game, the Super Bowl against the Patriots? Nobody cares because it doesn't matter because they called the wrong play when it mattered. So they called the wrong play at the goal line.
Tyler Huntley ran it wrong, but it was the wrong play call too.
It was a wrong play call, and John Harbaugh just doesn't want to admit it. J.K. Dobbins, I feel bad for him.
He doesn't call those plays anyway.
Well, I feel bad for J.K. Dobbins because he played well in this game and well down the stretch, and he's going to be
extremely well.
Extremely well. He's going to be unfairly criticized, and it is what it is. It's not going to make any difference. I mean, these are things people say. You're frustrated, right?
I like his comments heading into the game a lot better. It's I want it on my back. I want my team to put the load on my back. Like I forget what he said exactly, but it was pretty funny. Never mind. I digress.
There's a lot of things, but it's not. I'm not moving him in my dynasty rankings. I do think that the Ravens.
Where is he in your dynasty rankings?
Who cares? I mean, we'll get to that.
I care.
It's 20. But the rookies are coming in. I'm going to have to re-rank with the rookies. I mean, if I say 20, that's a little misleading because
it won't be more than 2 or 3 rookies above.
It's going to be more than that. Yeah, it's going to be at least 4 rookies going to be ahead of him. Yeah, I mean, it's been 3 years of kind of failure. I don't want more failure. I mean, through lots of injuries,
it's a deep running back class, so
I think there's going to be 3 or 4 runners. And I do think there's going to be more competition. I think we saw Gus Edwards is good, but he has injury issues. You can't rely on him to play a full 17. J.K. Dobbins can't. I mean, he said he was going to be healthy. He was not healthy. And then he finally got healthy down the stretch, but we can't rely. 4 good games, that's not 17. We need someone who can play 17 games. So J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards is a good start, but I do think they could use someone else. So I think we could have another running back come in, not Kenyon Drake, failure, wash, not Justice Hill, terrible. Someone else.
They could spend a 4th round pick on someone.
A 3rd or a 4th round pick.
Yeah.
And then that could muddy the water a little bit. If they just take a few 3rd downs, a few reps here and there, it's enough to make J.K. Dobbins irrelevant. He needs to get, 60 to 65%. Lamar's not walking. And also, if Lamar walks, the team is going to be horrible. Do you want the team to be horrible for your running back? I'm not so sure. A horrible team with a running back.
Really good defense.
Well, a horrible team with a running back in a committee, that doesn't sound so good. I don't know. Most of the times when a running back is good on a horrible team, it's because they're a workhorse, not in a committee. So we're not going to want a committee. So I don't know.
I guess I would argue about the horrible team. I don't think they're going to be an awesome.
Oh, they're going to be horrible. If Lamar's gone, I mean, this was pretty bad. I mean, the offense can't move. I mean, the offense is.
They lost to a team that most people are putting into the Super Bowl. What do you mean they should have beat that team?
No. But how good was the offense?
What are you talking about, man?
No. I know what I'm talking about. How good was the offense? How good was the offense in the game Lamar missed? How good was the offense? How good was the offense in the game Lamar?
They were winning. They were freaking 10-4 with Lamar.
Who cares? Who cares? They were not good with Lamar.
The offense wasn't good. The defense was the second best.
Where
defense
no
in
one
the
cares.
league.
If they're starting a terrible quarterback, they're going to be terrible. I mean, how good were they in the last few games? I mean, it really wasn't so
They
good.
were good.
Nah,
Their
they
defense
weren't.
was
Without
the best
Lamar,
in
they
the
were
league.
good? You think they were
Their
good without
defense
Lamar?
was the second best defense in the league,
And they're going to be able to continue that? I mean, I don't know.
Why wouldn't they?
Well, I mean, if
If
the
they don't
offense
have Lamar,
can't
if they
move,
don't pay Lamar, why
if
would
the
they?
offense can't move,
The offense
it's not
wasn't
gonna
moving
be
the
as
last
good.
5 weeks, Tyler.
the last time that they scored more than 20 points was, let's see, it was in October. Oh, no, not October. November. Okay, November 27th. It was quite a long time ago. It was coincidentally, I wonder who played in that game. They did nothing without Lamar. The offense was horrible. It was one of the worst offenses in the league. Worse than it was. It was. I mean, go look.
I
Go
know
look.
it was. I am saying that. I've said that.
Right.
I keep
No,
saying,
it's very. I mean,
that
they're
worst
going to be
offense
bad.
in
They're
the
going to be
league,
bad.
the best defense in the league, and then you're like,
Well, we'll have to
Like, I
see.
know.
We'll have to
I
see.
know
I
their
mean, the
offense was
defense
horrible.
improved down the stretch. It wasn't as good at the beginning, and then it got better.
With
So
Roquan.
we'll have to see.
They
You know,
just
which is
paid a
more
lot of money.
realistic because it wasn't so good at the beginning, and then it got better.
It was decent.
Well, it wasn't so
It
good.
was above
It-
average. It was above
well,
average, and then they
it-
were the second best defense in the league
It
the
wasn't
second
so
half of the
good,
year.
really. I mean, until it really started to become good after the game against the Buccaneers. Then it was since then. No, since then it was very hot. Over the last 9 games, I mean, they were excellent. They only allowed more than 20 points in the Jaguars and Bengals games. The other 7 games, they were excellent. I mean, down the stretch, they were one of the best defenses in the league. Before that, they actually weren't so good. I mean, they really weren't so good. They allowed, 20 or more points in every single game except the first one. And they had the shootout against the Dolphins, the game against the Bills. I mean, it wasn't as good. So, yeah, it was a tale of 2 seasons, really. They were whatever in the beginning and then really good down the stretch. If that's the reality. But the reality is that with Lamar, they're a playoff caliber roster that probably would have won this game. Without Lamar, they're not. They're nothing. They're nothing. They wouldn't have made the playoffs without Lamar. They would not have made the playoffs without Lamar. They were pretty putrid in those games.
And J.K. Dobbins only played really well without Lamar. That's all I'll say. That's
Well,
what it
yeah,
comes
but I
down
think that has to do
the
with
whole
J.K.
point
Dobbins.
was
That has to
you
do with
say
J.K. Dobbins
isn't
being
gonna
healthy.
with a
That has
bad
to do with J.K. Dobbins was finally healthy. He actually looked healthy.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, J.K. Dobbins got healthier as the year went on. He wasn't really healthy. I mean, he looked pretty putrid injury-wise, and then he looked healthy. So that's good.
You changed my arguments too much, Tyler.
What?
Nothing.
It's hard. It's hard. I know. I'm quick on my feet. We're used to a different kind of argument, but it's hard arguing against me.
Look. I know it is because
Sorry.
you'll turn it into something where you're right, and I know you're right. But my original point
know.
still is right.
I know. That's why I'm good at this.
Yeah,
it's because I always turn it into something where I'm
I
right.
know. I know.
But,
I know.
I am right though. I am
know
right, though.
you are about what you're
The
talking
point
about
of the
now.
story, though, the point of the story is that they can franchise tag Lamar unless they're willing to let him go and someone is willing to give up multiple first-round picks. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That's the point of the
you're
story. Why is the mock? Oh, there we go.
And
The mock
offense
is filled.
better
The
with
mock is
Lamar.
filled.
I-
Excellent.
There's
Just
not about
filled.
Start it.
There's no doubt that the offense is much better with Lamar. I'm
Oh,
not
I
arguing
mean-
with that by any means.
Do you know how many times I've had to argue that, by the way? How many times people said, well, it's not going to make any difference.
It makes
if
me
Lamar-
sick. People.
It is
people over in
so
Baltimore,
infuriating.
before Lamar
That's why
got
we're
hurt,
having this
were
conversation.
talking about that.
At the end of the day, I think we agree that they are. I just am saying that they would be a terrible team without Lamar.
I would say they would be a terrible offense without Lamar. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be a playoff team. I mean, terrible. What's terrible? I mean, maybe they would have been 7 and 10.
What's terrible? Yes,
7 and 10 by their
What's
standards
terrible?
is terrible.
What's
I mean,
terrible? What's
yeah,
terrible?
they're
You're
not
right.
the
You're
worst team in the league, but they would not have made the playoffs with a full season of
Probably
not
not.
Lamar.
You're right. You're correct.
Not a playoff team. Yeah. Okay, so Josh getting started. People really tuned in for that mano a mano head-to-head argument.
I think we were both
Just
right in some ways, but
The
Oh, no,
faces Josh was making were
I was adding
sending
to
me
the
over the edge.
I think this is also
Yeah,
telling
that
me
was so
that
funny.
maybe this show is too long. Maybe if I know I only have to do like 30 minutes or an hour, I have better
you
stuff
can put in a good 30
than
minutes.
if I have to go, if I know I have to go for 2 hours. But anyway, I'm gonna let them
Jalen Hurts
transition to the
third.
mock draft.
Did I just get sniped?
You got sniped.
In a
I'm gonna let them
mock?
transition to the mock draft. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. This looks like it's gonna be a pretty big audience. So yeah, crush the mock draft, and I'll be back next week, same time. I don't know exactly who will be here, but I'll try to get some guests. We'll be a little probably shorthanded, but it'll be me, Conan, and hopefully some other people. I'll see
what I can do.
Yeah, that would be really nice. I'd really appreciate that.
I'll see what I can do.
But yeah, no, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you all later.
Man, this first round I was actually uber interested in because I wanted to see like where Justin Jefferson goes, where Jamar Chase goes. I know there's going to be a ton of quarterbacks going in the front, but like where did these other guys fall in? And Justin Jefferson at 5, I think makes a lot of sense.
I haven't done any startup mocks at all since the season's ended and stuff. So I wanted to make it kind of hard for myself. And I went.
You've actually done a startup draft already?
I've done a startup.
That's wild.
I couldn't resist the itch.
Yeah, I've got the itch. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm actually really happy to do this mock because like Conan, I actually haven't done a mock draft. I've been working on my Dynasty.
2023 picks in here?
Nah, they're not. I don't think, right?
No, not. I think. Yeah,
I had kickers on just in case we wanted to, but we could leave them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we probably should have let into it, like everyone drafting know a little bit, probably, right?
That's fine.
I still definitely need a little bit of time to figure out kind of where those picks are in my startup value. I feel like too. It's just like right now I'm still kind of focused on the playoffs, kind of watching what's happening. And I mean, we got a crazy weekend of games this past weekend and some high scoring comebacks. Like it was real fun. So
yeah, I would say the top 3 picks are probably all going before the second round ends. I would say in a typical.
We kind of passed the Bijan point at like Kyler Murray.
Exactly. That's probably right where you're seeing that 101 get picked if we did do picks, and then I guarantee that second and third overall pick in the rookie draft would be second round picks as well.
David Tepper needs to offer the farm for Lamar. I mean, yeah, he needs a quarterback. That Carolina team is just free DJ Moore, my guy. He was cooking with Sam down the stretch.
I mean, really you guys were having that argument, obviously, with, you're saying the defense is really good, which I definitely agree with that. And he was saying, offense and also the whole team kind of would be bad. And that's also pretty fair. My mind kind of immediately went to like earlier season Broncos where their offense was putrid, but their defense was so darn good. And it's like
the Niners.
Obviously
they beat the Niners.
It fizzled out kind of by the end of the year. And I'd say, the defense was still really good for almost all the whole year, but that team as a whole, like, definitely wasn't that great. So, I saw both sides of the argument, right? Yeah. Like, I wanted to let you guys just go at it because I thought it was funny, and I agree with both sides.
Something,
for sure.
If the team got rid of Lamar, right, that's a ton of money that's available. They're not going to be like, okay, we don't have Lamar, let's just use the same team we have and go forward. That's not going to be it, right? By any means. So their defense, let's just say it's the same. All right. It might change a little bit, better for worse. I don't know. Let's just say it's the same. Their offensive line is one of the best offensive lines in the league, or at least it's been playing like one since they've had Ronnie Stanley. That's something the Broncos do not have. Going into this year, we thought they had an above average offensive line, an offensive line that could get it done. And that did not turn out to be the case. They had one of the worst offensive lines in the league. I think that would play a big factor. Obviously, the Ravens aren't going to go in the season with the wide receivers they had either this year. They would have more weapons in terms of wide receiver, I think. And then the final point is John Harbaugh, just a coach that year after year after year gets it done, that the Broncos didn't have. So that's why I think I agree with like what Tyler was saying. Not a playoff team maybe, but I think an average team, which isn't great, honestly, for the Ravens.
Yeah. No, I think with the defense they'd have and the style of offense they would be playing because of that defense, I agree where I don't think they're going to be like a 2-3 win team, but I agree where it's, kind of average and not likely to make the playoffs if they get rid of them and, don't make any significant change at the position or on that offense in general. But it's going to be really interesting. There's a couple, couple quarterbacks that are going to be changing places. A couple teams that got to make some tough decisions. I mean, we haven't really even gotten into Brock. He's officially now looking real good. I mean, we talk about it. We've talked about it the last few weeks where it's all right. Like we've seen the Niners go back to Trey Lance already after someone comes in and does all right. So it's like I really thought unless he makes a real strong showing in the playoffs, gets at least to the NFC final, Brock's not going to really have a good shot to even have that starting spot next year. But I mean, he's looking good. He's leading the team at least, and like he's still going to make some mistakes here and there. He might make some plays that you're like, holy crap, what are you doing? But you got to remember, like he's 23 years old. Like he's a rookie.
Yeah,
he wasn't supposed to be here. He wasn't supposed to be here year one. So
he gets
considering all those things,
though, but yeah, he's.
I mean,
it looks great.
He's throwing 3, 4 touchdowns in every game.
You could make an argument that he maybe is in the best situation you could put that kind of quarterback in with all those weapons and that defense. But still, like he's looking better than Jimmy Garoppolo was looking, right?
That's why the argument's always going to be there where it's like, it doesn't matter who it is. You throw anyone in there in that offense with those weapons, with that, it's like, yes, to an extent. But I think at this point, he's looked more than just your average run-of-the-mill guy. I think it's a little bit above that replacement level at this point, the way he's playing. So it's going to be, I mean, they got a tough decision.
Do you think he wanted Mac Jones over Trey Lance in that draft?
I mean, that was
still heated. That's still heated debate out there on the Twitter sphere.
So
you think that's
what do you mean,
wanted?
like trading up, and they were like, we're going
that
when they made that trade.
Mac Jones, if Kyle Shanahan
and why wasn't it? Oh, because there was like internal dispute with the GM and such.
I think the GM wouldn't let. I think that's what they're saying. The GM wouldn't let.
Okay, I haven't heard about this actually. That's pretty awesome.
I mean,
that's crazy.
It feels kind of evident with how Brock Purdy, these guys are running the system. Like it feels catered to
a more game manager kind of quarterback that would be better. Is kind of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. And Mac Jones was good up until Matt Patricia ruined him. Sorry, Conan, but
I mean, I'm just glad he's likely not coming back. So,
guys, I gotta say, I really like both of the starts you guys have had. A lot. Like I wanted Amon-Ra St. Brown, Ryan. By the way, I would have loved.
I was familiar with him coming up. He went, I believe, 3-1 in the actual startup that I did. So
Ryan, I almost picked him. I almost picked him over Jalen Waddle. Honestly,
I don't think that's the craziest thing in the world either, Conan. I would take Jalen Waddle. I would take Jalen Waddle, but
and that's what I went with.
I
had to give it a sec. I had to give it a sec and be like, I think I still got to go with Waddle, but it was tough. And I love I feel like they're both very fun to watch, but just the way Amon-Ra ascended and just kind of. This is
all right. Do we think the Ravens don't want to pay Lamar? I think the second part of this question is an easy one. They're going to get a haul. Quarterbacks are.
Yeah. If they're trading Lamar, there's no doubt in my mind they are getting a giant haul. And I think what's obviously kind of has to happen is they either franchise tag him or sign and trade him if they do trade him, obviously. So yeah, they're getting a haul if they trade him.
No.
So
Tony, you want that one back?
Kind of.
Did you run out of time?
Do it? Yeah, I was literally about to click.
Wait, listen, I've done a lot of drafts on streams before. I used to do one every Monday, and it's tough keeping up with that clock. You're looking for your guy.
I'm trying to listen.
We're talking here.
It's tricky. That was tough. I don't love the pick, but I feel like, looking a full year back, we're looking at Najee a lot higher in those dynasty ranks, and if that team gets a little better, just overall, maybe they get rid of a certain Canada guy. I don't know, but
when I look at the running backs in that area, I don't absolutely hate the Najee pick by any means. He's going to be their guy for the foreseeable future, and that's what we want: workhorse running backs, right? So I think that offense will get better, right?
I think the volume will be there. The offense, I don't think is going to fall off from where they were this past year, where they were kind of average, barely got out of the playoffs, but it's just like some of the other names around. It just feels like there's more warts, just more question marks. You know, we have DeAndre Swift. We're always complaining and not happy with the usage. You know, Javonte obviously coming off a major injury. Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, a little bit older. Stevenson definitely was someone that I was kind of between that pick on, honestly. But I just feel like it's a lot
Brock
Brock here.
There goes Brock.
Oh
man, I am stuck right here. I do not know to pick.
The Brock Purdy pick got you stunned, but while you make your pick,
no, he got sniped on Brock, right?
He got sniped.
No,
what do you guys think about third round reversals for startup? I think it's becoming more and more the standard.
Oh man, I'm kind of like getting forced into this, but I'm gonna do it.
I was gonna do it.
I only had 3 seconds left, but like he's honestly, if you look at my dynasty rankings right now, he's the highest ranked person.
I thought about it.
Yeah, I was between him and like 3 other guys, so I like it. I don't have a running back yet. 2 wide receivers. I usually like going wide receiver heavy in dynasty startup leagues, a little bit more longevity. But DeAndre Swift, he was a borderline first round pick going into this season. And I know you're disappointed, but at least he showed some improvement by the end of the season. Considering Michael Pittman.
So, what do you guys think about third round reversal? Let's get back into that.
I like third round reversals a lot. I think
we should start doing a third round reversals. Obviously, it's too late here, but
I don't
know.
No,
I agree in terms of like, because we talked about, I think someone else said, let's see, a little earlier.
Man,
feel like the top 10 is pretty clear. Like I kind of agree with that statement in terms of I picked the top or the 10th pick because there were 10 guys that I wanted in the first round. And after that, I was kind of a little bit, skeptical on who I would really want to go with around that turn 11 and 12. So I do feel like if you have those picks, that third round reversal just like super helpful in terms of you're not getting that top end QB1, but at least you're getting a couple cracks at that top 35 or that top 40, whatever it is. So yeah, no, I like that. I like the reversal.
Every time I've done a third round reversal, every time I come away and I look at the draft and I'm like, this just seems like, because I said, I used to do a draft every Monday, and then we would do mock draft reviews the majority of the time and like kind of analyze the draft. And I found that whenever we did a third round reversal, every team seemed just a little bit more even. I came away being like, all these teams, like it was harder to pick who was the best team, who was the worst team, blah, blah, blah. So I like third round reversals. I think it balances things, especially for a dynasty superflex league for me a little bit, where I really feel like when you get Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, a guy like that, it really sets you apart a little bit.
Yeah.
They're just a little bit more valuable than everyone else, in my opinion.
I totally agree there. I forget the last one that I did. I don't think we did a third round reversal. A couple of guys weren't too happy about that. And I don't blame them, but I'm just trying to see where we are.
And I'll tell you, Ramondre Stevenson, if there's no Damian Harris there next year, if he's the guy, like, why shouldn't he do exactly what he did this year? Yeah, aka a top 10 PPR running back. He was involved in the passing game, got the majority of carries, and a team that wants to run the ball that you can kind of trust a little bit. I like the Ramondre Stevenson pick.
I'm all in until they pick a day 2 running back or early day 3 and just totally ruin it. Because Bill did that. He picked 2 guys in the late day 3 last year.
Yeah,
Kevin Harris, Pierre Strong. They haven't played much.
And Pierre Strong, he didn't get a lot of work, but he was efficient as hell. I think he was the most efficient running back, but he only had like 10 carries. He had like 10 carries for 100 yards or something, if I remember correctly.
Crazy. Here comes that quarterback run that we were someone in the chat mentioned.
That's another thing I'm very interested in. When does that next line of quarterbacks kind of come off the board, right?
I'm just so scared of Trey Lance right now. I just don't know what I want to where I want to go, where I want him to go in the draft. It's like I'm lost.
Atlanta, maybe?
So Nick, I still think this was a good move.
I agree.
I would do this trade currently. I'm still much higher on Kyler Murray than Daniel Jones, like much. And then the first is I'd rather rather, and that first is close to probably over Cousins. Or
Yeah, especially because it's 24 is random. Like, you
yeah,
don't know where that's gonna fall. Especially if Kirk Cousins, takes a dip in production or something like that.
yeah,
But who are these guys? Who are these
Hey,
guys?
who's that guy saying this? We don't even know you, bro. Like, get out of here.
Conan, you sniped Jesse. I believe this was your Kyle Pitts pick. Got that snipe in.
And then TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson being the second tight end off the board is a little surprising. It doesn't. I think it's actually
After
completely
yesterday?
fair. I think it's completely fair, honestly. But it's surprising going into the season. He was the seventh tight end off the board for a lot of people. So
There goes Trey
Probably-
Lance. I was gonna take him at my next pick. The
Who's the
draft
starting
capital is
quarterback?
just way
Yeah.
too much. They put into
I
him.
agree.
They're at least gonna look to move him. So, all right, would you guys
I'm
take
with
T
you.
Higgins or 103 or 104? My bad. In a super flex startup.
I think that's a very fair trade. To be completely honest with you, I think the values for both of those players are relatively even. Or both the values for that pick, the 104. I probably lean T Higgins. If it was the 103, I probably lean the 103.
I totally agree with you there.
Where I come down to it.
Because now that CJ Stroud officially declared, then that pick's
Officially,
looking a lot
really.
better.
Yeah.
I can't quit Deontay Johnson. My
I
man
was
put up so many
considering him with this
targets with no touchdowns. I can't quit.
I had someone ask me a trade question involving the 104 actually as well. I'm curious your thoughts, right? So they're trying to acquire that 101 Bijan with the 104, and they're trying to see how much more you would want as a Bijan, soon to be Bijan manager on top of that 104. And so they were offering Javonte and Dulcich along with that 104. Would that be enough for you guys to get rid of 101?
No.
Hold on. I'm on the clock. I didn't really listen to you. I have no idea who I'm going to pick. Oh, man. I don't love it.
See, I also made a bad pick because I didn't see Ayuk there. I would have taken Ayuk over.
I swear I would have taken Ayuk. Just simply because of age. I think Terry McLaurin's probably a little bit more talented than Brandon Ayuk, but I think it's close enough. Better position, younger for Brandon Ayuk. So
yeah,
I like that pick.
You're on the clock here, so
no.
I don't think you got sniped in that turn there, but
no.
The board's dwindling at this range.
It is.
It's pretty easy to tell.
All right. I'll take a guy that I believe a lot in at the tight end position, Pat Freiermuth. I think he's going to be a top 10 tight end for the next 10 years. I think that's a very likely possibility for Pat Freiermuth. He was uber impressive his rookie year, uber impressive this past year. Now, the end of the season, he didn't play a lot. He missed some games. He had some injuries he was dealing with. He didn't have quite the same production, but I kind of mentioned this with Najee Harris. I think the offense will probably improve a little bit with the Steelers. And if that's the case, I think Kenny Pickett will improve. And if that's the case, then I think Pat Freiermuth's numbers will improve as well. And I think he could be a guy. I think he could be a guy where we're thinking like he's a locked and loaded top 5 tight end, just like every year for multiple years once he really gets established.
I tend to agree. I mean, you watch him and he's just so consistent and so good, and then Matt Canada just screws the whole offense up.
Yes.
Bad.
Their offense felt very strange this year, and I think the Steelers figure it out. I think they're a quality organization that figures things out, and that's only going to help Pat Freiermuth. So I'm very high on Pat Freiermuth. He's got to stay.
Mike Tomlin's going to fire Canada. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, I hope he does. Yeah. I mean, as a Ravens fan, I don't hope that, but
the rumblings have been that he won't. So
yeah. So when it comes down to it,
Pat
Freiermuth, here's a little bit of a tight end run, and I was considering Dallas Goedert a little bit, but the age with Pat Freiermuth, love it.
I totally agree. Dalton Schultz feels like a risky pick with the upcoming free agency, but if Dallas pays him, then this spot at 7-9 is more than okay.
That's what it's all about. if Dallas pays him. If Dallas commits to him as their number one tight end for the next 3 or 4 years, then that's a good pick. If they don't, it's probably a bad pick. It's not probably. It is a bad pick.
It is a bad pick, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought more running backs were on the board. So I was going to ask Conan about his Rashad White pick over, some of the guys that.
Yeah, I know. I was
on
looking
the
at the
age
running back.
cliff.
Yeah, I mean,
you could like, it's like, why you pick him over Alvin Kamara?
Kamara. I mean, I feel like that's Aaron Jones. Kamara might get suspended. Like that's still a real. It's a real possibility, but I would go more so ask Aaron.
I feel like I definitely emphasize youth probably a little bit too much, but that's just kind of where I'm at with. And I just kind of went down the list, and it feels like it's just running backs for a while, and I was like, all right, I'll lock in a guy that I kind of
like the James Cook
in.
Mm-hmm. Like the James Cook pick there. I think they only have James Cook and Hines on the roster going into next season currently. I mean, if that's going to change, they're going to add someone else. But if that's the case, James Cook, he's going to have a good year. Yeah. I think we talked about him in the past, like not running back 1 good year, but like I think a safe running back 2, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. If they give him the ball, but
if it's just James Cook and Nyheim Hines, like I said, he'll be a running back 2. I'm very confident about that at the very least, but it's not going to be that. So
what do we think of this trade? Tricky. It's going to be a pretty obvious answer, but I just want to know.
Oh, I traded my 106 for Lawrence. Great job.
Well done. Well done.
Lawrence is worth multiple, probably 3 first-round picks still a lot of people. So, Jesse, highway robbery.
Highway robbery. Wasn't he struggling at the beginning of the season? It feels like so long ago.
Trevor Lawrence? He was. I remember talking about him on this podcast, and we were talking about panic level with him at around probably week 6 area. And I think I ended up on a 4. I think someone was at a 5, someone was at a 3, but we were all panicked, right? So it wasn't looking great for a good bit of the season, but he really turned it on. And I think everyone's kind of bought in for him dynasty wise.
Stream drafting is very hard because you gotta commentate the draft, you gotta commentate the selections, and also make your pick within 30 seconds.
On my previous stream, we always had a commentator that wasn't drafting, so we'd have someone just their job is just to talk, and don't worry about the draft, because I found whoever was the commentator, if I was the commentator and I tried to pick, I always screwed up something.
That's fair.
Great value on Matthew Stafford. I like the Cam Akers pick. Young running back.
Friends had a 2-hour clock, so this is super different. Yeah, it's super different. Goes quick. Goes very quick. And I believe this was right before the 504 pick were left. Yeah, that's where the QBs are at. And then they started flying off the board. Jesse went bold with Hawk over Andrews and Kelsey, but man, he's been pretty good with the Vikings. I mean, yesterday he was the number 1 guy. They were clamping out Jay Jettas, so
it's still one of those. I definitely.
Oh, you son of a! Who is it? How do you pronounce that? Eniac? Screw you, bro, or whatever. Woman, I don't know what. I don't know, but I wanted to pick him. Khalil Herbert was
absolutely
a good pick.
rattled.
I'm fine taking Mac Jones. I'm fine taking Mac Jones there. He was kind of a tier breaker at quarterback. I mean, I think there's a maybe a good chance Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady aren't even back next year. I don't want to spend this kind of pick draft capital on them in a dynasty league. So Mac Jones, he's going to be the quarterback next year, and he might be the only one I could say that about that's left in the quarterbacks.
That's true.
Yeah, it's getting drying up pretty quick.
This is
how valuable is that 1 year of Brady on X team?
I mean, it could be, and maybe it's more than 1 year, right? We don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I remember getting, some of the trades that went down of people that just kind of took that shot even after he retired, where getting Brady for a late fourth round, rookie pick. It's like thinking it was going to be nothing, and all of a sudden you had serviceable. Hopefully, you likely weren't relying on Tom Brady as your QB1 if you got him for so cheap like that this year. So obviously that's, is we'll see.
Elijah Moore might have been.
I'm excited for that game tonight.
The Brock Purdy pick.
Like
Pretty bold.
pretty bold, but he's in a pretty good situation.
Lefties in this draft, he'd be trading for several picks in the range to grab the QBs that people refuse to draft. I'm just going to assume that's the Trey Lances and Russell Wilsons of the world going in the 6th round.
Yeah.
Danny Dimes decreasing his stock.
Absolutely.
Hard to say he's not.
He just, I think it was the most rushing attempts he's ever had in his career this past week. 17 rushing attempts was just freaking nuts. What value on Mike Evans, by the way? Like Mike Evans falling to the 9.7. I know he had a very weird year, but like,
there's concern.
I don't know. There's a lot of concern,
leaves. So. I mean, he's still gonna be good, but like,
yeah, he might lose his 1,000-yard streak, and if that's the case, then he's like gonna be a 30-year-old wide receiver without a quarterback.
Conan sniping out here. Got him on Kenny Pickett too.
Picking Pitts and Pickett were his picks.
Yeah.
No left. Yeah, I'm with you. I agree with you. I missed Elijah Moore there. I was a little bit upset about it. Having said that, if I had time, if this was a slow draft, I would have taken a wide receiver.
Just inject that Kadarius Toney in my veins.
The upside is incredibly immense. It's incredibly immense.
Yeah, and I feel like I took Juju last round. I'm hoping I have the wide receiver one for a year or two, maybe. That's basically the goal there. And if that works out, then, as my 8th and 9th round pick, even if one of them is completely useless, if one of them becomes someone for Mahomes, then I'm happy. So that's kind of where I was at.
There you go.
Oh, I just found out some news that it's breaking news. I just want to let everyone. It's Conan's birthday. Let's go! Happy birthday, man! Let's go! Happy birthday! Yeah, I literally just figured that out. Happy birthday, man!
I appreciate it.
Happy birthday!
I appreciate it. It's my Saquon Barkley year now. 26.
26. Nice, man. Congratulations. Wait, do people say congratulations on birthdays? I don't think they do.
I don't know.
Congratulations on making it to 26, man.
There you go.
Good job.
I appreciate that. And I see FF Lefty Toronto. Pull him up. Thank you, Toronto Dave.
Yeah,
After drafting a young John Ross.
Kadarius Toney. That's actually pretty funny.
Wow.
They play differently. They're different players, but I see where he's coming from there.
Oh man, all good.
I'm fine with the windup pick.
Taking Zeke.
That's fine. Jerry Jones is stubborn. That's fine. RB3 for a year. He's sticking around.
Definitely stubborn.
I think.
So what do you think of this
especially,
trade?
I just think. I was going to say. I think we've talked about it, but I just think some team's going to throw some money at Pollard, and I don't know if they're going to want to keep him around at how much he's going to.
Some team is going to throw money at Pollard.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you see some of the contracts like on a yearly basis that some other running backs are making. It's like, why wouldn't you give 10 to Tony Pollard rather than 8 to someone that's completely unusable? So I do think some team is going to give him somewhere in the range of, 8 to 12 per year at least to come on in. It might not be a long-term deal, obviously, but 2 years, 3 years, 20 million, something like that. Like that makes sense.
So what do you guys think of this? Waddle in 112 or 105, 210, and a 24 first?
Waddle in 112 or 105. Waddle. I'll take Waddle.
Yeah,
I'll take Waddle. Definitely Waddle. I mean, yeah, I'll take Waddle way over the 105. So it's like one. I'll take Waddle here for sure. Yeah.
Smooth. An easy to climb button for lefty. Someone offered 105, 107 for 101. So you need 103 and 104 for sure. I agree. That 101, it's up there. It's a lot higher than
102.
Okay, in my eyes, because Bijan is just a superior talent.
Yeah.
I know the quarterbacks are decent. They're going to get good draft capital, but Tyler, we consider being a commentator if we had a lot of people. I mean, something in the future.
Yeah. Someone
This is where Josh got sniped, and Jesse loves it when you get sniped, Josh.
I'm sure you do. Oh no, I don't like this pick either. No, wait. Did I even get my guy? Yeah, I guess that's my guy.
Imagine drafting Brian Robinson and Elijah Morris. We'll get it together, Josh.
I'm okay with that. Like, they'd be pretty close in my rankings while Elijah Moore is a little bit higher. I completely miss Elijah Moore. I think he does have a bounce back season next year, though. So, yeah.
Let's go.
Josh also wishes you a happy birthday, Conan, and then Waddle
Thank you, Josh.
All right, we're coming up on the 11th round here, and Aaron Rodgers is still on the board. I guess people are really worried about that whole walkout of Lambeau Field kind of thing that he had there. It looked like he was done.
Arm around Randall Cobb and
good old buddy.
Like I'm considering drafting him. He doesn't really fit in with my team, but when it comes down to it, if he's playing next year, I'll be able to trade him for better value than this represents, right? I'll be able to get more than Brandon Cooks for Aaron Rodgers, for instance. And since I'm just spending too much time just talking and I haven't really looked through the rankings, like I may take Aaron Rodgers here.
Why not?
My third quarterback. I think he could have good trade value if he does end up playing.
You know what's funny? I was thinking that for a different guy.
Tom Brady?
Brady.
I like that too. It's the same exact situation, right? And people might be more excited about Tom Brady, maybe not longevity wise, but just for one season. I bet people are.
I mean, Rodgers is kind of stuck in Green Bay unless he forces his way out, which he will.
Yeah.
If he wants to play somewhere else.
Yeah.
But Brady's a free agent, so he could just leave and go wherever he wants. And I think he's gonna play next year. This is true. Aaron Rodgers did refuse to give his jersey to Jameson Williams. He wanted to keep this one.
I mean, obviously, that's something, but it could just be, he knows he's not coming back there, but he knows he's going somewhere else or something. So
that's true.
We don't know if he's done or if he's gone. So I saw that too, and it's something. It makes you, raise your brows, and you're like, okay, but
he does love being
exactly.
dramatic. He does love being dramatic.
True. I wanted.
He really does.
Came around.
You think there's a good chance he's their guy next year? You think it's likely? I don't want to interrupt you. You make your pick.
I mean,
Romeo.
Yeah,
that actually wasn't your pick.
I mean, who else are they going to be in the market for?
I don't know. They have a pretty early draft pick. I think you could make an argument that what are they sitting at 7 or something? I think 6, 7, 8.
So. I think it's a little later. I could look at it.
It might be 9. I think it's in the top 10. I'm almost positive.
I know Carolina is at 9 for sure. So
okay, but I think they could realistically be one of the teams that does go after the first overall pick.
They are sitting at 8, so you're close.
Yeah.
Close enough.
So they give up that 8 and a few other assets, and if they really wanted to, they might be able to get one of the top quarterbacks. I guess that would be my biggest concern. I even heard rumors about Lamar Jackson being traded there, for instance. Right? I don't know how valid that would be, but I like the Dulcich pick.
Yeah,
I like the McBride pick. I like these rookie tight ends, and
he stepped up.
Probably start a run. I like the Chig pick. Yeah,
rookie tight ends. They started coming on at the end of the season.
They were super impressive this year compared to what rookie tight ends historically do.
I gotta draft my guy,
Jamal.
I love it.
Swag, cost, Kage.
I like it. Most touchdowns in the league this year, right?
I mean, it's one of those things I never saw this coming, obviously, but I remember in the offseason much earlier on, I got asked who just my favorite player was, and I remember being like, Jamal Williams is my guy. He's so funny. Then all of a sudden, he absolutely bursts onto the scene, leads the league in touchdowns, just is amazing all year long, just like everyone expected, right? So, I don't know. I gotta get him.
I probably should have took kickers out.
You want to?
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
We can
Like,
let it
kinda
ride. We can
shows,
let it
like,
ride as
yeah.
kickers.
Yeah,
We can
we'll
let it
definitely-
ride.
we'll
Imagine,
let it ride.
imagine you
Tucker
can
would
get the 101 in the 12th.
We'll let it ride.
Justin Tucker would be the Dynasty kicker one. I don't think we could. There might be a little debate on that, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, it looks like Rodgers is done. Just imagine being sniped by 2 different tight ends in the same draft. You got him. You got him again.
Oh, he
Ooh,
wanted a McBride. He definitely. I mean, tight end's definitely one of those things, or definitely one of those guys where it's you can't be impatient. Like even if they do absolutely nothing, even if McBride didn't come on, even at the end of the year, like you still have to kind of hold out hope that it's just one of those positions where it takes a year or 2, even 3 years sometimes to really grow into it and become someone, especially in like fantasy, where you're being a usable option. And so I think with McBride, he definitely came on a little bit at the end of the year, even if it was 2-3 games. And that's just something you love to see out of, very highly touted. He was obviously the tight end 1 out of this class, but I think even if he had done absolutely nothing all year, I think most people would still just kind of be believing in the talent and kind of, and we got no idea what's going to happen with that team.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be interesting how that all breaks down. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins is likely on his way out. Kyler won't be ready for the beginning of the year, it seems. So who knows what they're going to go into the season looking like. And, if they don't have that dual threat mobile quarterback, then there might be a little bit more of that passing pie to go around. And so it might be really bad, but who knows?
That's the big thing. We got a lot of questions going in the 2023 season.
Yes.
Yeah, Chig is a fire pick. I liked his rookie season, especially at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
He turned it up when there was no other options when Treylon Brooks was banged up. So
Between like 3.
they might draft someone else at the wide receiver position to take away a couple targets, but I think he's the tight end of the future there. I think that's pretty safe to say.
Good.
Doctor
It
got
seemed like every
three-way
single
stack.
week they had something planned where he was going to rip a 40-50 yard gain. Like every week they had one, and it might be his only catch of that week. There's some games where he had 1 catch and it was 45 yards, and it's like might be 1, but they really like at least they were using him, and they know like kind of what they have in him, and if they can kind of incorporate him more, and you can use him. I don't want to say like Jonnu back when he had that one good year. It's just an athletic tight end just in that offense. We know that it's possible.
Sam Howell.
That was my next pick. He's
Starter
down
Sam
a little
Howell.
bit, but I think at this point he's one of the only ones you are told that he's the starter. So
I don't trust that organization. We're just gonna
Not in the
Right,
slightest. Not in the slightest. I say
No.
flip a coin if he's a starter next year, but that's a 50-50 shot, and that's awesome in the 13th round of a super dynasty superflex league for a young quarterback. So
Mhm.
I think it's good value. Sam
Yeah.
Howell. Great value, maybe.
Yeah, definitely great value. Valkyrie got the 3-way stack between Chase Claypool, Cole Kmet, and Justin Fields, building around the Bears. My only concern there is the salary cap that they do have to spend. I feel like Kmet's safe, but I mean Chase Claypool is a 12th round pick, so like they traded a second for him, or a first actually. So if it pick 32, so they have to use him,
I'm gonna
right?
do it. I'm gonna do it.
Oh, he did it.
I'm very that whole situation is so weird to me because it's like I'm so convinced he's gone, but the coaching staff really wants us to believe that he's absolutely not going to be gone, and it's. But I feel like at this point for his fantasy value, you want just another team to just take that shot and bring him in or something because he's shown what he can do on the Jets and it hasn't been good. So, but like you said, we're getting in, we're around 13, 14 now. It's super flex. I like to kind of take a couple shots late of guys that, not guaranteed starters at this point. It's hard to find one, obviously, this late in the draft, but there's a chance. They provide some value down the road.
If you get a guy who's picked
Incredibly
second
high
overall in
upside.
the draft 2 years ago in the 13th round, you'd be like jumping for joy.
Yeah. I mean,
Lefty really liked your
Mm,
J. Will pick as
mm.
well. It's gonna be interesting to see if he comes back with the Lions, because he might just walk and they might draft someone else. I know the Bijan rumors are there, but I don't think they're that loud. But I've heard a couple things.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be such a big thing of where he lands is going to have so many implications for the offense itself and his obviously his standalone value, but it's just going to I feel like it's going to impact a lot of things and running backs on different teams.
The only thing that's not going to impact is who is the 101. He could go anywhere and he's the 101. It's unless he falls to like late day 2 somehow, which would I wouldn't want to be on Twitter for those 2 days. It would be absolutely bonkers, but tough to think about. But there's always a possibility. Greater than 0, less than 1. But you get Diami Brown for free, huge Hal connection at UNC. I mean, why not? I really like that Rashid Shaheed pick. I know he came on late. I like the Penny pick too. Lots of good picks being made here late.
Yeah, I guess you would have liked to see Diami Brown do something with Sam Howell when, during the game he played.
True.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel took a lot of work, and just saying.
Yeah, but it's like it's not like Curtis Samuel and Brown like play the same position, right?
Mm-hmm. Jesse says it makes me feel good thinking about all the rookies that would be in the fold by this point. Yeah, I mean the rookie classes are loaded, planning to at least one start up in the fall. There is, I don't know. I mean, personally, he's probably gonna be my wide receiver 1, but Quentin Johnston still from TCU hasn't declared yet. I've been seeing in my Discord that the deadline might be 5.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I know it's today, but
it's today. I've heard 5 and I've heard midnight. So, and that I mean, the class would take a pretty big blow. Not as big as if Stroud were to come back. So, at least for me, take the wide receiver 1 out. But we'll see what happens. I mean, he's the only one.
It'll be there's maybe 1 or 2 other guys that still haven't
for UCLA. Yeah, right.
I saw that, but
he's not going to be Johnston's surefire round 1 at this point.
QJ
is less than 2 hours. I think the deadline is 5. I think it's 5 too.
Oh shoot!
And then the list gets sent to teams by Thursday, I believe. Wednesday or Thursday, like the finalized list, because I think they have a chance to decide or something, I believe.
Yeah. So I want to bring Valkyrie's comment up about how we feel about the Brandon Staley situation. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but
I clicked the wrong name, but it's fine. I meant to click on our rookie running back's name.
I feel like, I don't know, not even about this past game. I feel like not enough was talked about or said about the decision to keep the starters in, and Mike Williams fractures his back and he's now just out for the play. Like, I feel like I didn't see all that much about that, when I feel like that's a really poor decision in week 18 when you can't change your standing in
they played
the playoffs
the whole game too. It wasn't even like, we'll play him for like the first quarter, first half. Like
I think they eventually took him out, right, in the fourth quarter.
It was well into half. It was well into. I was watching that game like on Red Zone.
Allen got a touchdown like late in the third, didn't he?
It seems careless, and it seems like a fireable offense to have guys like Keenan
they still
Allen
lost,
and
right?
Mike Williams
they still lost that game.
Who are just hurt all the time. Like, how do you?
The win doesn't matter, the loss doesn't matter, but you try to win and you still lose. Yeah, it's a bad look. It's a really bad look. I considered Tyquan Thornton, Isaiah Hodgins, Khalil Shakir,
Tyquan
all these guys with my last picks. and Zamir White, who I was actually trying to take ahead of Vikings. But it's okay. It's okay.
It's all good.
It's okay. Yeah, I mean, I like. It's not like there's a ton of separation between them for me. It's just I think there's actually a chance Zamir White is the starting running back next year, and Isaiah Spiller's not.
Yeah. No, that's it's at this point. Is there like some reasonable shot that they have an actual role, whereas as opposed to some of these other guys we've seen already for years and years, and we know they're not going to just break out into a massive Ryan,
yeah, Pierce Campbell, yeah,
unreal. All right,
Sniped.
Last pick. I'm going with my boy Jameis.
Eat that W. Jared
Give
Stidham,
him
Tyler
a
Huntley. Here
chance
comes the QBs.
anywhere. Yeah.
Took years out of Valkyrie's life.
Oh yeah, I just pulled that. I can't imagine. Like I'm infuriated, and I thought there wasn't enough said about it, and I'm not a Chargers fan. I can't imagine. It's just like, what was like? Is it really just like, oh, you gotta, we gotta gear up and play how we practice or practice how we play? Like, what is the actual reasoning?
What
like,
is your goal?
All know. Yeah, it's like we all know. It's like you have nothing to play for. It's like, okay, if you can move up a seed and get a better matchup for yourself, fine. By all means, play your players. But you're in the playoffs. You're locked into your seed. What is the point? What is the point? And
there's another kicker.
Money Mac
missed a PAT yesterday.
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
It actually made me feel so much better because it would have put the Ravens down 10-0, and 9-0 feels so much better than 10-0 for some reason. Double digits, I guess.
So I saw this Staley's reasoning. We didn't have enough players on the active roster. Like, I get that, but like you have a practice squad. Like you can pull guys up that haven't come up 3 times. Like what? There's very much ways to add guys to play for 1 week if you need to, right? And it is crazy because once DeAndre Carter got hurt in that game against the Jags, they literally had 3 active wide receivers, and Michael Bandy was out there for a lot of routes. It's like, how is this possible? It was mind blowing. It was so yeah. I mean,
dumb.
I feel for you, Valkyrie. I'm sure that was tough to watch and endure at that season end as a Chargers fan. So I'm sorry.
Tyler, as Tyler would say, failure, right?
Big
failure. Get him out of here.
Post game Mac. Oh, did I miss these post game comments with Mac? What do you say? Anybody know?
I think there was just like a lot of like back and forth. I don't think Zappy is their answer for the future. I don't either. I'd be very much surprised if he all of a sudden was the week 1 starter for 2023. Yes.
But
for anyone,
yeah,
outside of injury.
I thought this was funny too. Staley's the guy who thinks he's playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers, but it's actually quite the opposite. That's what it feels like. I mean, I feel like he first came in and we're like, oh, he goes for it on 4th downs. He's so, he's aggressive and he's innovative. It's like, and then it's kind of worn off and he doesn't really do it as much anymore too. And it's like, oh wait, like it's worn off. This kind of new appeal of when he first came in. It's like, so, I mean, something looks like it's got to be done there. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. So what do we think of this draft? I mean, we go top to bottom. We just look at individual picks. I don't know what you guys want to do, but like, because I think the top of the draft felt very to form.
Yeah.
I don't love my team absolutely, but I like it. If I had this team in a real Dynasty league, I'd definitely be trying to make some moves. So when it comes down to it, I like it. Don't love my team, so I'll tell you that much. I like the quarterbacks that were taken late in the draft. It always makes me like once you get into a season, a lot of these quarterbacks are going to end up being more valuable than they were in terms of the saying is, you get your quarterback cheapest in the drafts, whether it's the startup or rookie draft. I I think a lot of good quarterback value later in the draft here.
It's funny, like that immediately made me think of, I have one 32 team league that I'm in, right? And it's kind of weird where, not everyone has to play a quarterback or anything, but there's actually 2 super flex spots, and then a running back, a wide receiver, and then a normal flex. And so obviously most guys, they got at best one quarterback. And so what my strategy was kind of taking all these
shots, right?
Like some of them backups. And so at the end of the year, all of a sudden I have Baker and I have Teddy and I have Gino and it was like this year, obviously we know, like, we had 65 something or something like that starting quarterbacks. It worked out, I think, better than almost any other year, but it's like, sometimes it works like that. And guess what? I won the league. Like,
I believe it.
You never know. Like, these
Take
shots, I think someone said it earlier. These are where, you can definitely give yourself an edge. Like, you probably don't lose a draft because your 9th through 15th round picks, didn't do well, but you can certainly, there's years, we have evidence of years past where that 9th round pick, it was Diggs or whatever, it was Cup or whatever it was. Like, it's crazy. So, I mean,
I'm even looking at like Matt Corral picked in the 15th round. Like, sure, Terrace Marshall has some upside too, but like, the upside with Matt Corral is so much more immense that I would much rather, take a pick like that. When it comes down to it, whether it's in your startup draft, even if they aren't the starter, rookie draft as well. These quarterbacks that are taken in rookie quarterbacks taken in the 3rd, 4th round of the actual draft. I'm going to be spending my rookie 3rd round picks on those guys just to see what happens, and then maybe flip them. Davis Mills,
even this
Billy
Tyler
Zappi,
Huntley in
Brock
the 16th
Purdy's.
round.
Brock Purdy's of the world.
16th round Tyler Huntley. Who knows? Who knows? Oh, maybe he's the Ravens.
There's a non-zero chance he's the starting quarterback for the Ravens.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't like saying it out loud,
but exactly. It's not likely at all, but it's at a position, and in the last round, if you're getting a quarterback that starts even a couple games for you at some point, like, that's a win.
Absolutely.
It's a big fat win. But yeah, I mean,
good. No, it's good little, it's good to do a mock, just, fresh off the season too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I want to say
some others.
Look how valuable. Remember, we all, or not all of us, but a lot of people were downing on this rookie class. Look at where they're going now. Garrett Wilson, 210. Olave, 304. Kenneth Walker, 3.6. I won't include Breece Hall in there.
London,
312. Yeah, Drake London, 312. Like, I won't count Brock Purdy either because, that feels
I
like
took Treylon Burks
Kenny
at
Pickett in the 5th.
5-2. I took Treylon Burks. Didn't have a great season. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, these guys are all worth something, and like, this class is projected to be better. So like, don't undervalue rookie picks, even when people say it's a weak class. I don't know if you guys have been seeing this, but they've been talking down the rookie class just a little bit on Twitter. People have. I wouldn't find the hype. It's gonna be great. Yeah, so that's all I want to say, because like even Isaiah Pacheco down there at 9-12, like, you spent a late round pick on him, you're absolutely happy with what he did in his rookie season. So there's a lot of.
You laughing at this comment, Josh?
Yeah, I absolutely was. That was good, Valkyrie. Yeah, that was pretty much sums it up. Yep.
And Ed, thank you. We love doing these too. I think it's a good exercise, honestly, for all of us to just kind of see how things are shaking up, even this early. I'm hoping, most people don't seriously do startups until, post Super Bowl,
unless you're like me,
closer to the draft, whatever it is. But
unless you want to have fun,
life on the edge.
But so. No, it's good to do. And like Jess said, we only came in with Breece in the top 50. So, I mean, we have other guys that certainly played above our expectations this year. And it's exciting to see. I mean, some of them, they're going to just have much better situations. If you look at guys like Olave and Garrett Wilson, like Drake London, we're hoping their situation was basically as bad as it could get this year. And they still produced. So.
There's a rookie we didn't mention that when we talked about 4.2 Christian Watson. How about that? Remember the pre-draft narratives on that guy? Super busted. Now he's a top 50 startup pick.
I like Christian Watson going into the draft. Actually, I did. Just the upside. I liked his upside. I mean, he's 6'5", 6'4", 4.4 speed. You know, I just love the size speed combos. Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
So yeah,
no, it looks good.
Good the rookie class. Hopefully a great one this year, and then we're looking towards next year. But I think we're good here. I think we're good to wrap it up. If you guys got anything else about the mock draft,
let's see. I really like French's team. I like the way you put together your team, French. I like your team. I don't know how to pronounce it. Enoch and Nick and the guy that sniped me like 3 or 4 times. So I like that team a lot. So there's some good
backwards. Do you think that's maybe their name? I don't know.
Maybe. Team reviews. I mean,
I'd be willing to like look this over a little bit, like over the course of the week, and come back with some nice team reviews next week, because it does take a little bit, because you kind of want to dig in the team a little bit. It's kind of tough on stream.
It is very tough just looking at it.
I'm thinking Austin's going to be competing immediately, like shooting for that title, loaded starting lineup. Ryan, I like your team, really young. You got really good wide receiver depth.
My buddy Jay Gilbert is in there. He definitely didn't emphasize youth and will be competing right away.
Ball Hawkins is a pretty solid team. Not as much wide receiver depth as I would like, but like it's a good balanced team. Oh yeah, Jay Gilbert. Yeah, they're going to be fighting for. Yeah, okay, you definitely draft a certain way. They're going to go for the.
That's my buddy. I like it.
No doubt. Yeah, so there's some good teams.
Pretty sure ENAC is
you said the ball hawking
computer. I do not know. I'm going to Google this.
Yeah, I don't. But Allen Robinson in the last round is so crazy to think about. So crazy to think about, right? Like some of the hype that was around his move over to LA this year in the offseason. It's like
Zesty. I like your team, Zesty. The quarterbacks are a little scary, but those wide receivers are sexy. The top 3.
1945 was the first programmable electronic digital purpose computer. ENIAC. That's what it is.
ENIAC. All right. Cool name. Very creative. I like it.
Yeah. No, I like
for
that.
A win now.
I like the team. I mean, that's always the battle, is just finding that balance between, youth and that powerhouse. But I think it's hard to perfectly balance it. So I think most people kind of just go one or the other, which I think is fun too. Whether you're just kind of throwing for a year or you're
tanking for Caleb.
Yeah, well, whether that or you're just going all in for the chip year one, like I think both are just so fun. Like I feel like that's just what makes it just fun in general. Doing a startup is, you have choices. You can just try to go balanced and just try to compete every year, or you can go all in or all out. Like I'm excited to definitely do some more mocks as we go.
We're gonna have a ton of
real startups.
And the more I do, the more I do want to try certain strategies, just like the Makeshift Managers podcast said here in the comments, saying I went for a win now team. I would love to like try different strategies, like, hey, let's see what happens if I draft 2 quarterbacks to start off the draft. Let's see what happens if I go 4 wide receivers at the first 4 picks. I love doing things like that, and I would love to see how those turn out throughout the offseason.
Absolutely.
We got another question in terms of trades. What do you think Saquon is worth now for offers? I mean, it's a tricky scenario because he's putting the team on his back right now. Yeah. He is older. He is a free agent. I think he's going to go back. I think we could almost etch that in stone unless someone throws way too much money.
It's more than likely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But where'd he go here? He went in the 3rd, 3-7. So
and I think that's fair value when it comes down to it. I would take him above Austin Eckler, but I think that's it. I like that Jay actually got Christian McCaffrey and Saquon for the team that he kind of put together. Yeah.
and Devontae and
Mike Evans down
Evans.
there.
down
Even
there.
Dallas Goddard too. You know,
Michael
good
Thomas,
value,
the ultimate
especially.
wild card.
Yeah. I mean, that
Yeah.
might be the team that's the front runner to win the championship next year. So
I think that's what my buddy was doing.
yeah.
I think
Yeah,
he sold in our first year and really was taken for 23. So I think in this mock he was trying to do the opposite.
I think this is incredibly appropriate value for Saquon. Like if you look between like a round before him and a round after him, like I think all those guys are in a relatively similar tier, you know, most of them. So I think this is really good value for him.
Yeah, feels right in the nose.
Yeah.
Then Jesse says one of his teams has Lamar, Chase, Trevor, CD, Watson, and Waddle, and this mock makes it feel good. I hope you feel good before the mock.
Are those all like top like 3-round picks?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, Watson is the lowest.
I think we're good to wrap up here, guys.
All right.
You guys good? I do want to give a thanks to you guys, Tyler, the audience, as you guys know that this is my last show on Mondays.
No.
Gotta go out in the real world, you know. But I appreciate everyone from all the way back, you know, the Sunday nights where we just came on after the Sunday night football game and just recapped it right away at like 2 a.m. And I appreciate getting to meet you guys. I'm talking about the chat and you two. It's been an honor. I hope to talk more football with Conan in the future. I know I will be talking more football with you, Josh.
I can't wait, man.
We'll definitely figure something
We'll
out.
talk more ball over Overwatch. But yeah, I wanted to say I just appreciate everyone. And you guys are going to absolutely carry this show through the offseason and the next season. I can't wait to see what you guys have in store for the show.
Appreciate you.
Yep, that's it for me.
Really do, man.
Buddy.
Really do.
Good luck with everything, obviously, as well.
You're the man.
I miss everything, but
Absolutely.
I'll see you guys later.
Happy birthday, Conan.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Hey.
Go out there and celebrate.
Yeah. Have a good time. Celebrate Ryan leaving the show. Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm just celebrate tonight, guys.
have one drink for you.
Yeah.
Turning 26 and one drink for me leaving the show. There you go. That's how you do it on a Monday.
I got you.
All right, but that does it here for us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace out, guys.
Appreciate you all.
See ya.